Good morning, dear children. So, in the last class, I was discussing with you about acids, bases, and salts. Now, see, once I was discussing with you about it, so I had shown you some of the identification tests, the basic primary identification test for the acid and bases using litmus paper and phenolphthalein as an indicator. Fine. Now, today I will discuss some of the physical properties of acids and bases, and then later on we'll move on to the salts. Now see, to begin with acid, I told it to you that acids are those substances which will have replaceable hydrogen. Okay, this is the word that I have used over there, that is, acids are those substances which will have replaceable either hydrogen ion, okay, it will have hydrogen ion or hydronium ion. Okay, so look carefully at this particular word because this word will tell you some details about the acid. See, so replaceable hydrogen ion or hydronium ion. Now, depending on this parameter of replaceability, we say that acids have basicity. Okay, we use the term basicity for acid. Now, what is this basicity for an acid? Basicity for an acid explains the number of, okay, this will explain the number of replaceable hydrogen ion or hydronium ion which is present in any acid. Okay, so basicity of an acid will tell us the number of replaceable hydrogen ion or hydronium ion which is present in a particular acid. Okay, so let us see one example for the acid. See, it is already known to you, hydrochloric acid, HCl. This acid HCl, how many replaceable hydrogen atoms are there, children? Only one. Yes, very good. So only one hydrogen atom is present. That is why we call it to be as monobasic. Okay, the basicity is called as monobasic. See, the word mono means one. Wherever you will find the word mono means one. So HCl is monobasic in nature. Is it clear to you? Okay, let us move on to another acid, H2SO4. This is called as dibasic because it is having two replaceable hydrogen atom. Now, how we will show that it is dibasic in nature, I'll come to that part later on. So, sulfuric acid is dibasic in nature, and phosphoric acid, H3PO4, okay, this is tribasic in nature. H3PO4, this is tribasic in nature because this is having three replaceable sorry this is having three replaceable hydrogen atom. Is it clear to you? Okay, now let us see why HCl is monobasic or why H2SO4 is dibasic in nature. Let us see that portion over here. Now, look carefully at the dissociation of the acids that we have over here. See, look carefully at the dissociation. This is HCl. Now, HCl is going to dissociate only in the aqueous medium. So, I have added water to the system. Now, how will the HCl dissociate? Look very carefully. It will dissociate into H plus and Cl minus. Now, this H plus ion is a very unstable one. it cannot stay in the H plus format for a very long time. So what will happen? This will form hydronium ion, H3O plus. Okay, this will form hydronium ion. But if you look carefully, it has got only one replaceable hydrogen. Okay, it has got only one replaceable hydrogen. So let us represent it in this format only. So only one replaceable hydrogen. So this is monobasic. Okay, only one replaceable. So this is monobasic. Let us move on to H2SO4. See, H2SO4 is an acid. Now all these reactions, they are basically reversible in nature because no chemical changes are being taking place over here, isn't it? Only physical dissociation of the ions are taking place. So that is why we call it to be as a physical change only. So H2SO4 will basically break down in two steps. Now how is it going to break down into two steps? It will form H plus HSO4 minus. Look very carefully over here. It will form H plus and HSO4 minus. This HSO4 minus will further break down. Okay, this HSO4 minus, this is actually a complex ion. Okay, HSO4 minus is a complex ion. This will break down further to form H plus and SO4 2 minus. Okay, this is a complex ion which will break down as H plus and SO4 2 minus. So if I sum up the entire dissociation, what will I get? See, this and this will get cancelled out. Okay, this will get cancelled out. Like the way you solve simultaneous equations in the similar manner. So I'm having what over here? H2, SO4. This on reversible, see I'm having 2H plus according to it. And I am having SO4 2 minus. I am having 2H plus and SO4 2 minus. That is why you see two replaceable hydrogen ions are present over here. That is why, because of the presence of two replaceable hydrogen ion, we are calling it to be as dibasic. Okay, is it clear to you? Similarly, you can write it for the tribasic also. So children, over here I have shown you how the dissociation of the acids are taking place and how do we classify them as the monobasic or dibasic or tribasic acid. That is the basicity of the acid. Now, from here, from this particular dissociation of the acid, we will explain one more parameter over here for the acid, that is strong acid and weak acid. Now children, you have an idea about strong and weak. That very concept, we will utilize it over here but in a different manner. See, strong acid actually means complete dissociation. Okay, strong acid actually means complete dissociation of ions in aqueous medium. Okay, that is how we classify a strong acid. That is, a strong acid will dissociate. Dissociate means it will break down completely in the aqueous medium. Okay, is it clear to you? So, a strong acid will dissociate. It will break down completely in the aqueous medium. Is it clear to you? Let me give you one example. See, a very common example again we are starting with, that is HCl, hydrochloric acid. This hydrochloric acid, on adding water to it, it will form H plus and Cl minus. You see, this HCl is dissociating completely. it is breaking down completely. There is no unbroken HCl in the aqueous medium. All the HCl has been broken down into its constituent ions. That is why we call HCl to be a strong acid. There are some more examples for strong acid. See, we have H2SO4. This is a strong acid. Basically, the mineral acids are all strong in nature. Or we have phosphoric acid, H3PO4. Okay, so if you want to classify the acids as strong, that means all the mineral acid means which are made out either in the industries or in the laboratories, okay, not from any plant or animal sources. So those acids we call them to be as strong acid. Is it clear to you? So any type of mineral acid, basically they are called as strong acid because they dissociate completely in the aqueous medium. Fine. Okay. Next we move on to the section of weak acid. Okay. This is a weak acid. So how will you explain a weak acid? Incomplete dissociation. Okay. Incomplete dissociation of ions in aqueous medium. This is how we explain the weak acid. So let me give you one example. There are various examples for the weak acid. Normally we say that organic acids. Organic acid means those acid materials which we generally get from plants and animal sources. They are all weak in nature. You might have heard the name of vinegar, I suppose. Yes. So once you have heard the name of vinegar, so vinegar contains an acid which is called as acetic acid. Okay, vinegar, it contains an acid that is called as acetic acid. Now, if you look carefully at the formula for acetic acid, CH3COOH. Okay, see, just look at the formulas now. Later on, while we will be learning about the carbon compounds and all, there I'll tell you about the details of these acids and all. Okay, so this is what? This is acetic acid which is present in vinegar. Okay, this is acetic acid which is present in vinegar. Now, the moment you dissolve it in water or you add water to it, it is going to break down in this format. CH3COO minus. This is, we call it to be as acetate ion, and along with it H plus, that is the hydrogen ion, will be formed. Now see, this breakdown is a kind of incomplete or partial breakdown. Okay, incomplete or partial breakdown. Okay, what I'm having? Incomplete breakdown or partial breakdown. That is why we call them to be as weak acid. Actually, these acids, okay, these particular acid, what they have is that these acids, they are obtained from plants or animal sources, and they don't break down completely to give the corresponding ions or the constituent ions. That is why we classify them to be as weak acid. Other examples of weak acid, we have formic acid. Okay, we have formic acid, HCOOH. Okay, we have formic acid, HCOOH, or oxalic acid. Oxalic acid is formulated like this, COOH, COOH. Okay, so these are some of the examples for the weak acid. Now, formic acid, you might have heard the name. We find it in bee stings. Okay, formic acid is found in the bee sting. or the ant bites and all. Okay, you will find that once the ant or a bee stings on your hand or your legs, okay, you will find that area swells up. That is because they release formic acid into that area where they bite. That is why it swells up. It gives a redness or a swelling. That is because of the release of the formic acid. Okay, so these are some of the names of weak acid. Again, we have some more weak acids like citric acid, which is present in the lemons and all. Any kind of citrus fruit, they have citric acid, isn't it? So this is how we classify a strong acid and a weak acid. Now, let us move on to another part, that is concentrated acid. Now, if you look at this particular term, concentrated acid, so how are we going to define concentrated acid, or what type of acid will be called as a concentrated acid? See, look very clearly over here. That is, you have learned earlier, or you have a concept earlier about what? That this concept is already known to you. That is, solute plus solvent will give you solution, isn't it? So, this concept is already known to you. Suppose I have a spoon of sugar and a glass of water. Okay, so sugar is your solute. Okay, sugar is your solute and water is your solvent. Water is the solvent. So what will I have over here? I will have sugar solution as a result of it. Now, this sugar solution that I will have over here, it may have two types of concentration. See, how? Let us see. If you increase the amount of sugar, that means if you are increasing the amount of solute, then the solution will be concentrated. If solute is more, look very carefully, this is very important. If solute is more, then the solution will be concentrated. Okay, we will call that solution to be as concentrated solution. And if solvent is more, okay, if solvent is more, we call it to be as dilute. Is the concept clear to you? If solute is more, we call the solution to be as concentrated. If solvent is more, we call the solution to be as dilute. Is it clear to you? Okay, so from this particular concept, we will explain concentrated acid. That means if the amount of acid is more, okay, suppose you want to make a water solution of acid. So if the amount of acid is more than water, then it will be a concentrated acid. But if water is more, okay, but if water is more than the acid, then it will be a dilute acid. So concentrated acid means more acid. Okay, concentrated acid means more acid, and dilute acid means more water. Okay, more water or less acid. Anything you can explain it. So, concentrated acid will always mean that there will be more amount of acid, and dilute acid will always mean that there will be more amount of water. Okay, now see what happens over here is that, so this was about the concept the basic physical properties or the basic physical concept about the different types of acid. Now, we will move on to the bases now. See, in case of bases, what do we have over here is that bases, we normally define them by the similar terms, that is, those bases which will have replaceable. Okay, bases will have what? Bases will have replaceable hydroxyl. Bases will have replaceable hydroxyl ions. Okay, like acids were having hydrogen or hydronium ion, and bases will have replaceable hydroxyl ions. Now look very carefully. Since bases are having replaceable hydroxyl ion, so we will use the term acidity. For acids, we have used the term basicity. For bases, we are using the term acidity, which will denote the number of replaceable hydroxyl ions in aqueous medium. Okay, always you have to mention it in aqueous medium, because all the things or all the definitions that we are studying it over here, they are all related to the Lowry and Bronsted concept, and they have explained the concept for the aqueous medium. So we will use the word aqueous medium over here. Now see, so acidity actually means number of replaceable hydroxyl ion. So how are we going to explain them? Look very carefully. Sodium hydroxide, NaOH, on adding with water, this will form Na plus and OH minus. So how many replaceable hydroxyl I am having? Only one. So this will be classified as monoacidic. Look very carefully. This will be classified as monoacidic base. Okay, monoacidic base. Again we have calcium hydroxide, CaOH whole twice. Over here, what will you get on dissociation? Ca2 plus 2OH minus. See, I am having two replaceable hydroxyl ion. That is why this will be classified as diacidic base. Okay, this will be classified as diacidic base. The next one we have is aluminium hydroxide, AlOH whole thrice. What we will get over here? Al3 plus 3OH minus. So how many replaceable hydroxyl I am having it over here? 3. So this will be called as triacidic base. So is everybody clear to you? So look at the examples or the names for the bases. Sodium hydroxide is monoacidic, calcium hydroxide is diacidic, and aluminium hydroxide is triacidic. So children, in the next class, we will discuss about the strong acid and weak acid, strong base and weak base, and concentrated and weak dilute bases. So till then, go through the chapter, see the topics, and for then, goodbye.